So in this tutorial, let's learn some HTML. So this will be a very basic tutorial. I will use Visual Studio to do the coding of HTML and will explain about the basic tags. So now you will see the Visual Studio Code to be exact. This is a free tool. You can download from the internet and install it, and you can program in different languages with HTML, Python and other languages. So how you create a HTML file, click at that new file and then press index.html. Index.html will be the home sort of web page or the first starting point where you start, and put an exclamation mark and press enter. Then you will get a boilerplate code which you can use to start your HTML. So this .html file can be run or executed on any browser. So if you just double click on the .html file, it will open the browser. Or for developing, you can just use open with live server. Live server is a plugin you can install in Visual Studio Code. Once you install it, all the changes you make in the HTML will be updated live in this browser. So it's the same as running .html in the browser by double clicking it, but this one will basically update as you edit. So this is useful for the developers because they don't have to each time refresh the browser and then change the code. So now I will explain how you can basically edit the file. So I'm changing the title to my first HTML, and this you will see in the bar. So my first HTML page, that's the place where you can find the change which I made in this code. So the thing is, the browser understands whatever .html file has, so it will just execute whatever you write in the HTML code. So that's how the HTML is a very basic language. So anyone who wants to start computer science or IT, you can start with HTML. The tools are free and easy to learn. So now I'm going to introduce other tags. I have already practiced some tags for showing you. So basically you have the P as a paragraph, and title, heading, all these are basic tags which you can get in the internet and then execute one by one. So I will just show you how these tags work. So the first tag I'm showing here is the H1 heading tags. So there are H1 to H6, I think. So these are basically headings which you use in MS Word. So it's the same. So H1 will be a bit large and bold, and H2 will be smaller, and then the size will be growing. As you see, when I just saved it, it just appears on the browser. So that's how it looks like. This is how you do the formatting with the H1 till H6 tags. So these tags are just the basic ones. You can practice more with playing around with these heading tags as per your requirement, or you can imitate a Word document, open a Word document, create a small document, or open any document and then try to use the heading, or just imitate, try to make the word in HTML. This will give you good practice. And I have put paragraph. P is for paragraph, and P start quotes, and end quotes is always with ending with a slash. So you can add paragraph inside the headings or under the headings. Then BR is for spacing. If you want to give a new line, that is, you want to print something after one line, then you use BR. So what I just did right now is right click on the browser and click inspect. Then you will see the whole code. This is how you debug or find errors in your web page. So this is a tool which is mostly in all the browsers. Some will have maybe another word, but when you right click and go to the bottom of the options you have, mostly it will be inspect or something else, and then you click that, then you will have this HTML view. So whatever you write in the Visual Studio Code, or whatever is programmed into the index.html file, will be displayed in the browser as it is. So that's how you debug. The debugging part will go later, but I just wanted to show you in a short way, so that you can have a view how the browser basically interprets this, basically the HTML, and then displays the code. Now I'm writing a tag called ahref, which is ahref is, you can add links to the browser. As you see, You put href with any website address, and then you put a name, and this will show up as a link in the browser as you see. And then once you click, it will open up the google.com website. So href is the attribute used, and a is the tag. So this is another tag which is quite commonly used. Any website will have definitely another link to another page. So these are the tags which we just saw now, like title, heading, h1 till h6, and then a href, which links to another site, and then you print like visit Google or any text, and then you will be able to see it. So now let's go to the other tags. So let me explain about image source. So this is basically how you insert an image in a website. So if you go any website, there'll be images. So this is how you do it. Image source equal to test.jpg. Test.jpg will be any JPEG file or any image file. You put it in the same folder as in the HTML. Here I have it in that on the left side. You will be able to see it, but on your window file explorer, you can put it in the same folder. Then the HTML will take it for its use in the same folder. So I specify the width and the height, and then this picture basically appears on your browser. So you can add any picture, and then this will appear in the browser. This is how you insert an image in a website or your HTML page. So the command is image source test.jpg, which has a width and a height as parameters. So you see this test.jpg is already there in the folder which I am working on, and you can open Paint and then start editing it. So you will see that once I start editing this file, this browser will automatically update, because this file is being referenced in the HTML file. So whatever I change here and save it, this HTML will load it, and then the browser will link it properly. So any changes you make, it will appear as you can play around with this tag and put smaller pictures, bigger pictures, or you can create create many files and then start linking it on the same thing. So this is just the HTML formatting. So how you want to place the pictures, you can use CSS, which I'll come to later, to position your pictures at the right place. So this is basic insertion of image inside a browser. So as you see, if I adjust the width and the height of these image, the size also changes accordingly. So you can, there are other attributes of this image which I have not explained, but if you just click in Visual Studio, you type the first space, then you will see other attributes which you can just try it out and then see how the picture changes according to what attribute values you give. So we have seen the image source, how to insert an image inside this. Now next will be the next tag is image source, and the attribute I will be showing is alt. And alt text is something when the image is not present, or when the image link is broken, or the image is deleted, then the browser will have a text to display in that place. So that's what you use alt for. Now you see I just press an enter. That means the image is not being recognized by the browser, so it will display this text. So that's where you use the alt attribute, which is used along with the image source. So once I correct the path or the file name, then it displays again. So that's the tag which we learned now is alt tag. So HTML is a very easy language to learn, and it's also fun to learn because you see what you get. So when you code, you see it immediately, like compared to other languages like C, C++, it needs a compiler, and then you compile it and run it on different platforms. The output can be channeled to different things, but in HTML it's just the code and the browser. So it's very handy for anyone who's starting with IT or computer science. First thing to go is HTML. Other things are there, but that will come later because you need to get the concepts right. So here I am going to explain about some of the styles or the colors which you can give. For example, here style attribute, you can give the color of the text. So you type P and inside that you type style equal to color and select the color. Only in Visual Studio you will be able to see this red color as you see here. If you are doing in Notepad, you will not able to see because Visual Studio Code is an intelligent editor. So as you see here, when I set the color of the text changes. So there are other parameters like background color and other things which you can try. There are a lot of parameters which you can try, or maybe later when I have time I will also try to put the other attributes which can be used. Now you see I set the color to green and you will see green as a text. So you can play around with different colors and different attributes and different sizes to get yourself familiarized with the tags, because these are the set of tags which will be standard in HTML and which will come again and again. Even if you go to advanced platforms like React or Angular or anything, this HTML is something which will be the starting point. So when I said blue color, that color paragraph changes. So this is what we saw, how to give color to the text. And next we'll see the lang attribute in HTML. As you see, you can put en or de or any language your website is. So if you're using de, which is German, and you have the text all in German, then once you save it, you'll see a translation option which pops up, because we have set the language to DE and the browser asks you if you want to translate to English, and if you say yes, then it translates to English. So the language options you can set it there according to whatever language you are using. You can also try other scripts which I've not done. Maybe later I'll do if you are using Chinese or if you're using Arabic or any other script which is not the standard English language. You can try that out. So next I'm going to explain about here I'm typing title hover. So that means here if you have your mouse and move your mouse over a text on the browser, then it will display a tooltip. So this is useful if you're designing a front end and you want to display something as a help. When the user points somewhere, then it shows a small yellow box where he will be able to read and understand what that specific option means. So it's a good thing for the front end. So this you do it with title. I have put as I am a tooltip, and then when I hover over it, you'll see the small box which comes up, but for the top text you don't have it. So if you're putting a paragraph and put title and then you put a text inside it, then this will appear as a small tooltip. So that's what we learned just now. So next I'm going to explain about how the text between P tag is formatted. So if you see here, I have put some spaces in the paragraph, but the thing is the HTML browser, the interpreter will ignore these spaces unless and otherwise you specify some specific tags, which I'll come to just now. So if I put new lines here, so nothing will be these new lines will be ignored. As you once I save, you will be able to see, and this will also be all be printed in a single line without any spaces. So you see here, so it prints as far as the browser goes and then the next line starts. So the new lines you have put in your editor will not be considered. So if you want a new line to be considered, you have to use a special tag like BR, which is a break. So now I will show you. So this is basically I'm typing the same thing without any new line, so the both will look the same. So only thing advantage of writing like this is in the same editor you'll be able to see it, otherwise the line will be longer and it will not be visible. So for the code readability, it might be good, but generally from the interpreting point of view, the browser visual, it will not change anything. So if you want a new line, you can use break, just a tag called BR. So now I type BR, then you will see the display of the text will be same as in the editor. So I save it, and now you see whatever is in the browser in the editor will be displayed as shown here. So the tags also I just have typed it in the below, so you can just copy, you can just type the same thing on your editor. So now I'm going to give you another some examples of headings and how you format the tags. Uh, so you can follow whatever I do, or you can also add your own things to see or how it works for you. So the main thing is as you work more on HTML, you'll be able to get the tags, or sort of you'll remember the tags as more and more use. You can best pilot project I would suggest is like to try to create your own resume in HTML. So get your resume, you will have a picture, the formatting, everything. You can use replicate that. I will try to make a video on that, but that's a good pilot project for you to learn all the tags, and it will be also interesting. But then once you have a HTML page of the website, you can host it somewhere on a free domains where which is visible for everyone. So here I introduce a new tag called HR, which basically prints a line. So as you see, when I put HR, you'll have heading 1, first paragraph, second paragraph, and then heading 2, first and second, and there is the line. So HR is basically the tag. It's horizontal, I think it means, which will give you a line. So by the way, HTML means Hypertext Markup Language, quite introduced when the web development started, and we have HTML5, which is the latest version, but we don't have to worry about the versions, because whatever we type is interpreted by the browser, and it will take the latest ones, latest tags. Some new tags have been introduced in HTML5, which might not be in the older versions, but this is not much to worry for us. But so you see here I have put all the headings and the paragraphs and the breaks and the HRs, which you can just practice and how it looks on your browser. You can use any browser, Mozilla, Firefox or Edge or Chrome would work for all the HTML files. So now we learned how we can put the HR tag, and then now I'll go to the next one. So there is another tag called pre, which basically if you use, instead of, if you don't have to put the break on each line, if you use just the pre tag, so whatever you display between it, it will be shown as you formatted. So for example, now I have put pre and then it will show as it is. So without the break tag, so that's the difference. So if you're using just the P paragraph tag, it will ignore the new lines which you have put or the spaces. But if you use the tag called pre, then it will display the text between the two tags, as it is. So that's so handy when you want to display something in a specific formatting with specific line spaces or new lines. Then you can use the pre tag. So you see how the difference between pre and p, which basically preserves the formatting in between. Then now I will go to styles is attribute, where you can give colors to some of the heading. For example, if you put style equal to color and some color with RGB value or the value in Visual Studio Code, you can just click the palette and then select the color. But in HTML, other editors you might not do so, but since Visual Studio Code is an intelligent editor, it will give you some options. And also there are many styles which you can try. You see the list here. Once you type the double quotes and you select the background color, that means the text background color will change. As you see here, now the orange is displayed as a text background. So these are some of the style options, but there are many style options which you can try for your formatting. So when you build your own resume, you will come to know what you need. Like for example superscript or subscript, or if you want to make a text smaller, bold or wide, which will just come to in the next coming. So I change the color, and then you can change the color with just the palette, and then it will be refreshed automatically in the live server. So you have to be careful with the spellings. If I put styles, you won't throw any error, but there will be no change in what you see. Yeah, so that's HTML. HTML is like it won't throw much errors except when you're using higher code like JavaScript or something. Even then there'll be not much things you'll be able to see, but if you're using JavaScript, it'll throw some errors which you can see on the browser. But HTML, it won't. It will just keep quiet, and then it won't do the thing which you want to do. That's the only indication where you can see if there's any error in the front end. But you can also see the right click and inspect to see how it works. So given the background color as blue and it changes. So here we have learned style color and background color. So I'm doing basically the same thing. So you can try to design some websites where you select a specific background color and specific front color, that is the text color, and then see how it works. So that's about some of the tags. I have listed here some tags like which I just told now, like bold, strong, italics, em, mark, and these you can just follow what I just do now, so that it will be, I'm just basically taking a text from internet, and then if bold is if you put any text between b, then it will be bold. Strong is similar. I is italics as in word. Em is emphasized text. Mark is it will mark it as yellow, which you will just see when I am doing. Small text is it will appear smaller. Deleted is it will appear as striked out. Inserted text will appear as if it is inserted new. Sub and superscript. Subscript is it will appear smaller and a little bit down, and super will be a little bit up. It's quite straightforward to learn, but the thing is you need to be consistent in learning, because it will take some while to get used to the tags and how you debug. If you are in the other programming domains like C, C++ or coming new, it's quite a bit different. If you're coming from the other programming language, there'll be compilers and you'll be able to debug. This is completely different domain, front end and web development, where it will be a bit harder to debug stuff. And getting into it is best is to start with HTML, and you will learn. Then you'll give more styles. If you want to add more styles to your web page, use the CSS, which is cascading style sheets, which I will come into succeeding videos. Then once you want to add functionalities, you want the website to do something for you rather than just display the front end, then you use JavaScript will do the calculations and stuff. But then if you want to do more background or backend, as you say, work, then you use Java, which can be embedded inside the browser itself. For example, Java server pages, you can embed Java code inside the website or the HTML tags itself. This is a different domain, but initially is basically HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and HTML to begin with. So you need to know all the tags basic, and then go to CSS, and then you will go to JavaScript. So you see now, when I select some text and as a small, then it will appear a bit smaller compared to the other text. So this is useful when you're formatting a big website where different text might be needed to be displayed differently. See, I have put this mark text yellow and then it appears yellow. Now I put an inserted text which appears with underline. Deleted text will appear as if striked out, so that you have a website which is different versions and then suddenly you make a change. So the users need to be informed that this text has been striked out. This has been used in Word, like in if you are using different version of a same document, and it could be useful in some front ends which might need it, which might need this functionality. So I hope you got a picture about how you can basically start programming in HTML. Try to do different things. There are a lot of help material out there, and and I've given you just a very basic introduction of how you can create a small website. Or next videos, I'll try to be more like create a maybe dummy resume, so that it's something which is more useful, and which you can just replicate. So just follow these steps which I'm doing now, and post if you have any comments, and I'll be more happy to help you. Thank you for watching. Yeah. So in this tutorial, let's learn some